Monday, a News 24 investigation has revealed that Ekurhuleni Mayor Nkosindiphile Xhakaza was present at a Kempton Park nightclub when DJ Bongani Mfihlo was shot and killed in September of 2023. Mfihlo was killed in the early hours of the 2nd of September after two security guards linked to a municipal contractor allegedly fired at least 14 shots. The guards later handed themselves over to police, claiming self-defense. But the investigation also revealed that Mayor Xhakaza had spent the night in Mfihlo's company, but his presence at the scene came to light nearly 2 years later after the police's serious violent crimes unit took over the case in July last year. That same month, one of the guards was arrested in connection with the murder of Ekurhuleni's chief auditor, Mfihlo. How does all of this fit together? Let's bring in News 24's investigative journalist, Sikonathi Mantshantsha. It's great to have you with us in studio. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Michelle.
It's complicated, the story, but I suppose the one thing that stands out is the fact that his presence at the time, or just before the murder, was seemingly suppressed for 2 whole years.
For 2 years, the Kempton Park police, which investigated that murder of Bongani Mfihlo, did not take any statement from Mr. Xhakaza and very few witnesses. They actually submitted in the docket that there were no witnesses, as those people who had been present, eyewitnesses, declined to talk to the police, fearing for their lives. And it only emerged in 2025, in July, that Mr. Xhakaza, or at least the police, formally got to really make him a person of interest in 2025, when the Serious Crimes and Violent Unit in Gauteng took over the case away from the Kempton Park police and realized the mayor had been there, but no one had said a thing about it. And there was no proper gathering of evidence at that time. And of course, when they realized that the mayor had been there, they sought his attention. They tried to take his affidavit. They tried to talk to him. For months, the mayor allegedly stonewalled the police and didn't want to participate or really help them.
Yeah. The issue of eyewitnesses is one thing, because obviously in a case where it seems like there's just been a hit executed on someone, that's speculation. Eyewitnesses, I suppose, would be fearful to come forward. But here we're talking about the mayor, who, unless there was something untoward about it, surely would have come forward and said, I was with him.
Michelle, it's strange. Let's state first that at that point, Mr. Xhakaza was not the mayor.
Right,
he was the MMC for shared corporate services, which included legal and risk at the municipality. And he had spent the night there at that club in the company of Mr. Mfihlo. Not just that he was one of the people in the club. He actually was sitting with Mfihlo for the rest of the night, and then he got murdered shot by these two security guards who are linked to the municipality. They worked for a contractor that is working for the municipality, guarding the bus rapid transit system in Ekurhuleni. And as you have pointed out, for 2 years, the mayor said, the now mayor, he got elected mayor 6 months afterwards. He said absolutely nothing, at least not to the police. And the police had to find out and go and try and interview him. And it appears he resisted that too for a few months.
And then, of course, the chief auditor in the mayor's own town, Ekurhuleni, we talk about Mfihlo, the young man who was killed just months into the job at the prime of his life. One of the guards also arrested in connection with this DJ's murder is then arrested in connection with the murder of Mfihlo.
That is exactly what brought our attention to Mr. Xhakaza, because one, Tabani Goodwill Nchali was out on bail when Mfihlo was murdered. And this out on bail for the murder of for the killing of Bongani Mfihlo, which he, together with a colleague of his, handed themselves over to the police and claimed self-defense. Almost 2 years later, he's arrested again. The police identified him as one of the suspects for murdering Mfihlo. And we put two and two together and said, this is the same guy that, that is appearing for another matter. These cases have now been linked, and it became even more curious when we were informed by people who know things that the mayor had been present in 2023, and now one of the very people that were arrested for that matter is now again arrested for the matter of the chief auditor of Ekurhuleni, where Xhakaza is now the mayor.
Yeah.
We found that a bit curious.
Well, to say the least, yeah. Have police made that link between those two murders?
The police, one, have confirmed to us that they have taken affidavits from people linked. They said they won't name the people, but we had specifically asked them, have you interviewed Mr. Xhakaza? They said, we have interviewed people about this, and we cannot divulge more information. The NPA have said, yes, we are aware of the mayor's presence at the murder scene on that day, but we are not giving further comment. So the police have definitely linked the two cases after Mr. Mafole was murdered on 30th June, and they realized the same suspect that was out on bail for the other murder, for the Mfihlo murder. Then they linked those, and those were being heard in the same court anyway. But now they appear the two suspects in the Mfihlo murder. They are also being investigated by the same team that took over and found out that the mayor had been there, but his presence had been cleaned away and out of the scene.
Well, let's just remind our viewers about who the Ekurhuleni auditor Mpho Mafole is. He, at the time of his murder, flagged, and this is according to News 24's own reportage as well, irregularities in a 1.8 billion rand chemical toilets tender.
Yes, Mpho Mafole joined that municipality on the 1st of April 2025, and he was murdered on the 30th of June 2025, 3 days after he submitted a report to the municipality saying, this chemical toilets tender that you've just awarded, these are the mobile toilets you will see on the side of squatter camps or places where there is no sanitation infrastructure. It's a 3-year deal, 1.8 billion rands that gets awarded. He said, listen, our investigation reveals that you guys in the municipality, his own colleagues, were actually negligent, and you have exposed the municipality. You shouldn't have awarded the tender in this way and that way. And it exposes us to protests, to litigation, to service delivery failures. Please rectify this. 3 days later, he was murdered. And as we have said, the only suspect so far, the police have identified other people, but they have managed to arrest Mr. Thabani Njalinjali, who was also out on bail for the murder of Mr. Mfihlo in 2023.
Sikonathi, you know, you obviously have a mind map in your office of how these things are linked, particularly in Ekurhuleni. And Ekurhuleni, the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry looking into corruption in the criminal justice system, there was a time, a few weeks, in fact, where we could have called it the Ekurhuleni Commission of Inquiry, right?
Yes.
Because there were just so many different links being made, be it through blue lights being awarded irregularly, and the list goes on and on. How does all of this link?
I would not be able, or at least our investigation, I'm working with Jeff Weeks on this, who has got extensive knowledge of the municipality as well. Our investigation has not brought in the Metro Police in that municipality at this point, but we have focused solely on the tenders, on the corruption in the municipality. Mr. Mafole was murdered, as I have stated earlier, after he produced a scathing audit report saying the municipality awarded these tenders irregularly. 3 days later, he was dead. We don't know if Mr. Mfihlo had any links or business with the municipality. The mayor, we asked the mayor, what business did you discuss with him? How did you know the man? He said, I knew him as a local DJ there, and our interactions were limited to a social acquaintance. I cannot discuss what we discussed that night. I cannot divulge. That's the mayor. He said that now veers into the police investigation. So we're not talking about that. So I don't know what business, if any, Bongani Mfihlo had with the municipality. But on the night he was killed, he had spent that very night at that club where he was murdered with the now mayor. And Mr. Mafule, 2 years later, had just joined the municipality and had done this massive investigation on which, again, Mr. Xhakaza had publicly commented after Mafule's murder. He was the biggest auditor in that municipality. Having produced a scathing report, he was killed. Of course, it's not for News 24. It's not for us to say why he was killed. The courts will actually hopefully get to the bottom of that. Ours is to help and provide the answers and any information that we may get to the public.
One just wonders, you know, it's difficult to not draw those links, right? Just given the history of corruption in our country, the links sort of reveal themselves. And as you said, it is up to the police to officially draw those links. But what should be the next steps here for the Ekurhuleni mayor?
Look, we have asked Mr. Xhakaza all the questions that we could ask. Specifically, he appeared at the first appearance of Thabani Ntshalintshali on the Mafule murder on the 23rd of July 2025. I asked him, because I had now had wind of his presence at the earlier murder scene, I asked him if he knew this man. He said he didn't. The suspect, I mean, Thabani Ntshalintshali. He said he didn't. The next step, it's really up to him. He is cooperating with the police. At least that's what he's told News 24. This is now part of a court case. We should hope that the mayor, one, will make himself available to the court processes in order to help the victims' families find closure and justice. We would certainly also hope that he will take the people of Ekurhuleni and the council into his confidence and tell and reveal what he does know publicly and let the municipality processes run their course.
Yeah, absolutely. Sikonathi Mantshantsha, thanks as always for coming into studio.